President declares 30th August of each year as National Engineers Day to be observed across the country. The government's clampdown on undocumented expats lead to an increase in revenue collection from expat fees. The SME Development Finance Corporation invites applications for the second phase of its Fasha Madadu loan scheme. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Minha Maroof. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu declares 30th August of each year as National Engineers Day to be observed across the country. The announcement was made through a directive issued by the President's office on Sunday. According to the directive, the chosen date marks the anniversary of the inauguration of the China-Maldives Friendship Bridge, the largest infrastructure project in Maldivian history. The China-Maldives Friendship Bridge was officially inaugurated on 30th August 2018. The directive also states that the Ministry of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure will be responsible for organizing and overseeing all activities to commemorate National Engineers Day. The Maldives Inland Revenue Authority, MIRA, reports that the government revenue from tourism land rent in the Maldives rose notably in 2024, with resort lease collections reaching $116.75 million, a 6.7% increase over the previous year.
The figure exceeded MIRA's projection of $110.25 million by 7.4%, underscoring stronger than expected contributions from one of the nation's most vital sources of state income. It also marked an identical percentage increase over the $110.25 million recorded in 2023. MIRA, in its 2024 annual report, pointed to the initiation of lease payments by new entities and consistently high compliance among resorts as primary drivers of the elevated collections. The authority also noted that payments have been successfully secured for a greater number of lease periods, a dynamic that reinforced overall revenue growth. Tourism land rent ranked as MIRA's third largest revenue stream last year. Kof Atoll contributed the most with $35.17 million, followed by Ra Atoll with $16.88 million and Ba Atoll with $13.03 million.
The government's commitment clamped down on undocumented foreign workers in the country has led to a significant increase in revenue collection from expatriate workers-related fees. According to the 2024 annual report of Maldives Inland Revenue Authority, MIRA, revenue collections from work permit fees and expatriate quota fees last year had exceeded estimates.
The expatriate quota fees showed the highest increase, recording $28 million last year, comfortably bypassing an estimated $16.6 million or 255.43 million rupiah. Last year, $19.1 million was collected for 147,334 quotas, while $8.9 million was collected as partial payments. MIRA said the fee is estimated based on the proportion of quota allocated. However, it added that the revenue collected exceeded estimates, as most of the outstanding amounts were paid in installments with the introduction of the installments option. The second biggest contributor to the boost was the increase in revenue collections from work permit fees of foreigners. Work permit fee is charged from foreigners working in the country at the rate of around $22.7 per month. The government in its forecasts had estimated to collect $35.9 million from work permit fees for foreigners last year. However, at the end of the year, the figure stood at $43.5 million, which is an increase of 21.4% compared to the estimates. According to MIRA, the increase in foreign workers-related fees was a result of the strict enforcement measures taken by the Immigration Department to address the long-standing issue of undocumented foreigners working in the Maldives. Last year also saw a significant improvement in the compliance rate of expats-related fees payments compared to 2023, which stood at 22%. However, the figure has now risen to more than 50%, the government had said in April. When the incumbent government took over in November 2023, $123.2 million in foreign workers-related fees was outstanding, which has since been slashed to around $58 million within this short period.
The SME Development Finance Corporation, SDFC, invites applications for the second phase of its Fasha Madadu loan scheme, specially designed for women entrepreneurs. Developed in line with the pledge by President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu, the scheme is designed to empower female entrepreneurs by providing targeted financial assistance. With economic inclusivity at its core, the program aims to remove barriers that have historically limited opportunities for women in the business sector. The loan scheme is being rolled out in 5 phases with a total collection of $6.49 million. The second phase, similar to the first, is designated $1.30 million. In a bid to widen access, 25% of available funds have been set aside for persons with disabilities, reinforcing efforts to ensure inclusivity. Financial support is structured to assist individuals launching new businesses with loans ranging from $6,485.88 to $32,429.58. Borrowers will be eligible for an annual interest rate of 6% with a grace period of up to 12 months. Repayment is spread across 7 years, ensuring manageable financial planning for recipients. The program's implementation brings together key government agencies, with SDFC working in coordination with the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade and the Ministry of Social and Family Development. The Raimandu Island Council completes new administrative complex, representing a substantial enhancement of governance infrastructure on Memo Atoll's Raimandu. The facility, constructed under the Local Government Authority's LGA Corporate Social Responsibility Program, was completed on 22nd March. The project drew funding from LGA's Social Responsibility Allocation, or the agency's Public Sector Investment Program PSIP budget, and was carried out under the direct supervision of the Raimandu Council. The total investment stood at approximately $311,345.65, designated to strengthen institutional capacity. The LGA stated that the building introduces several new facilities intended to improve working conditions. These include an 80-seat conference hall and a meeting room with a space for 16 individual officers that has also been designated for the council president, vice president, council members, and the secretary beyond. Beyond administrative use, the complex accommodates broader community functions. According to the LGA, a hall has been established for the Women's Development Committee, alongside a prayer room, tea room, storage area, and separate sanitation amenities for men and women. LGA noted that the previous premises, an aging structure with limited space, had long constrained council operations. With its expanded footprint and modern design, the LGA expressed confidence the new facilities would improve access to public services and address persistent infrastructural shortcomings across the island. The Maldives Police Service MPS reports the highest recovery rate in Operation Frontier, a multinational campaign targeting global financial scams conducted from 28 April to 28 May. Coordinated by Singapore's Anti-Scam Command, the effort brought together authorities from 7 countries in a unified response to transnational fraud. The campaign marks the first mission under the newly formed Frontier Framework, which was created to strengthen cooperation in the fight against cross-border financial crime. Its focus lay in interrupting illicit transactions and recovering unlawfully obtained funds, a remit that has gained urgency amid the rise of transnational scam networks. Over the course of the operation, the MPS recorded 199 reported scam cases, resulting in financial losses totaling $188,747.74. From this sum, the MPS recovered $41,497.40, a figure that translates to a 21% recovery rate, reported as the highest among all participating nations. That performance drew attention to the role of the Frontier Network, which was launched under Singapore's initiative and now includes Australia, Canada, Hong Kong, Thailand, South Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, Macau, the Maldives, and Singapore. Member countries are expected to coordinate enforcement efforts, share intelligence swiftly, and develop unified processes for the reinstitution of stolen assets. A high-level meeting in Hong Kong on 3rd June concluded the operation, followed by a press briefing with international media. Among the MPS delegation were Inspector of Police Adam Naveed, Head of the Anti-Scam Center, and Inspector of Police Sham Muhammad, Head of the Scam Investigation Unit. The Maldives' participation in the network, according to the MPS, signaled a step forward in national efforts to combat financial crime. The Maldives Transport and Contracting Company, MTCC's Managing Director, Ahmad Saudi, says the company is advancing its plan to expand the nation's high-speed ferry system with Raja Transport Link, RTL services expected to launch in Ra Atoll later this month and in Ba Atoll by late July. The move marks a significant step in President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu's pledge to connect all inhabited islands through the RTL network before the year's end. The company's readiness was affirmed by Saudi in an interview with PSM News. As part of the preparations for the Ra Atoll launch, MTCC has introduced a public awareness program scheduled through 21st June. Designed to familiarize residents with ferry schedules and ticket pocketing procedures, the initiative is, according to MTCC, one of several steps aimed at ensuring a smooth rollout. In addition to this, MTCC stated that the first week of RTL operations in Ra Atoll would feature complimentary trial trips. The company said these journeys are intended to facilitate final testing and refinements ahead of full implementation. The mandate to operate RTL services in both Ra and Ba atolls was granted to MTCC on 15 April 2024. That same day, the company was also commissioned to expand service to Nunu Atoll, where ferries began operating on 24 July 2024. The RTL initiative, overseen by MTCC and organized across 6 regional zones, is intended to unify maritime transport nationwide. With Nunu Atoll now connected to 13 inhabited islands, the network has expanded to reach 81 islands across 9 atolls. The Maldives Tuna Race, an event organized by the Maldivian Fishermen's Lobby, is open to all pole and line fishermen in the country. The race will be held from 5th to 6th December to celebrate the anniversary of the Fishermen's Lobby and the Fishermen's Day. The Fishermen's Lobby is hoping to make this annual event with special prizes up for grabs. The 24-hour race is designed to foster friendship and unity among local fishermen and to inspire young fishermen, especially in pole and line fishing. The lobby said large cash prizes will be offered to the winners of the race to encourage wider participation. The The prices on offer range from $6,485 for the winner, $3,243 for the runner-up, and $1,621 for the second runner-up. The winners will be determined by the weight of their catch within the designated time frame. The deadline for registration for the Maldives Tuna Race 2025 will expire at 4 p.m. on 10th July. Fishing vessels interested in competing can submit the duly completed form to the lobby office or through its official email. However, the opportunity to participate in the race will only be open to fishing vessels registered in the National Fishermen's Register along with a valid fishing license. U.S. President Donald Trump formally approves Nippon Steel's fraud $14.9 billion bid for U.S. Steel, capping a tumultuous 18-month effort by the companies beset by union, opposition, and two national security reviews. Trump signed an executive order saying the tie-up could move forward if the company signed an agreement with the Treasury Department resolving national security concerns posed by the deal. The companies then announced they had signed the agreement, fulfilling the conditions of Trump's directive and effectively garnering approval for the merger. The bid, first announced by Nippon Steel in December 2023, faced opposition from the start. Both Democratic former President Joe Biden and Trump, a Republican, asserted last year that U.S. Steel should remain U.S.-owned, as they sought to woo voters ahead of the presidential election in Pennsylvania, where the company is headquartered. Palestinians in Khan Yunis mourns loved ones killed by Israeli fire near an aid distribution point. Crouched over their dead bodies and crying, relatives said they were killed near an aid distribution point in Rafah. Israeli fire and airstrikes killed at least 12 Palestinians across the enclave. Local health authorities said at least 5 of them near 2 aid sites operated by the US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF. Medics at Al-Auda Hospital in the central Gaza Strip said at least 3 people were killed and dozens wounded by Israeli fire as they tried to approach a GHF site near the Netzarim corridor. 2 others were killed en route to another aid site in Rafah in the south. An airstrike killed 7 other people in Beit Lahia town north of the enclave, medics said. There was no immediate comment from the Israeli military. Separately, a car was seen on fire in Khan Yunis following an Israeli strike at dawn. The GHF began distributing food packages in Gaza at the end of May after Israel partially lifted a near 3-month total blockade. Scores of Palestinians have been killed in near-daily mass shootings trying to reach the food. The United Nations rejects the Israeli-backed new distribution system as inadequate, dangerous, and a violation of humanitarian impartiality principles. Iranian government spokesperson Fatima Mohajerani says that the country had been ready to hold a 6th round of nuclear talks in Oman prior to Israel's initial strikes on June 13th. Mohajerani made the comments on Iranian television. Israel and Iran have exchanged strikes into Sunday, killing scores of people. But the United States had been negotiating with Iran to try to secure a commitment to severely restrict its nuclear program. Iran says the program is purely civilian, while Israel sees it as an existential threat because of its weapons potential. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi earlier said Israel's attacks had been aimed at sabotaging the talks, which were due to resume in Oman on Sunday before they were cancelled. He said the Israeli offensive had the support of the US and that Iran was acting only in self-defense. Meanwhile, Mohajerani said flights were cancelled in Iran, but the government would be able to supply its citizens with food and goods, and that shelters including metro station and schools would be available. The Israeli military warned Iranians living near weapons facilities to evacuate after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel's attacks would intensify, not abate. Officials from aviation company Boeing visits the site where an Air India plane crashed in western India, killing at least 271 people. The Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner with 242 people on board bound for Gatwick Airport south of London began losing height seconds after takeoff in Ahmedabad on June 12 and erupted in a huge fireball as it hit buildings below. All but one on board were declared dead in the world's worst aviation disaster in a decade. Around 30 people died on the ground. Officials from the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) and the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) were also in Ahmedabad in western India's Gujarat state to survey the crash site, said one source with direct knowledge. Air India and the Indian government were looking at several aspects of the crash, including issues linked to its engine thrust, flaps, and why the landing gear remained open as the plane took off and then came back down. Betty Lou Sakura Johnson and Yago Dora claims victory at the 2025 Trestles Pro, the eighth stop on the World Surf League WSL Championship Tour (CT) in San Clemente. Japan's Kanawa Igarashi and Australia's Molly Picklum, the 2023 and 2024 world title contender, finished as the runners-up. Johnson, 20, secured her second championship tour career win this season, following her maiden victory at stop number 6 at the Vansoi Gold Coast Pro. Her triumph at Trestles moves her to number 4 in the rankings, placing her in contention for the WSL Final 5.
Yeah, it felt great, but I think the turning point for me was in the quarterfinals to get that wave in the last minute. That was a really slow heat, and I've had that happen before to me where I was just like sitting out the back and a wave would not show up. So I was just like, please God, send me a wave, and the wave came, and I knew I was just like, okay, I have to make this. I have this shot, and I'm gonna do it, and that was like the booster for me to go all the way and win this event today.
Dora, 29, achieved his second win of the year and third career championship tour title, impressing with aerial maneuvers that captivated spectators. His victory elevates him to number 2 in the rankings ahead of the Rio Pro in Brazil, where he earned his first championship tour win in 2023. The Mexican tourism industry on the Caribbean coast raises alerts over the impact of sargassum seaweed plaguing the coast, causing visitors and reservations to plummet. In the pristine beaches of Playa del Carmen, in southern Quintana Roo state, drone views captured by Reuters showed piles of brown sargassum replacing the famed turquoise snorkeling waters as state and federal efforts to remove them have been deployed. Members of the tourism industry have expressed their worries as lodging has dwindled by up to 35% and restaurants by up to 90%. Lenin Amaro Betancourt, president of the ANCER, a regional business council from the area, said on June 12. In Quintana Roo, 4,236.26 tons of sargassum have been accumulated so far this year, according to a Navy statement from June 5, as seaweed season traditionally runs from March to November. Researchers from the Mexico's Autonomous National University, UNAM, however, warned some 100,000 tons could arrive in the Mexican Caribbean this year. Sargassum has been present for hundreds of years in the Atlantic Ocean, with the first historic reports dating back to Christopher Columbus. It has indirect consequences for human health when it decomposes, as it releases ammonia, methane, and sulfuric acid, the UNAM informed. And that's all we have for now. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a pleasant day ahead.